tell Chad you'll be calling him soon.
Holy shit, Jason, what are you doing?
I got all kinds of stuff going over here.
Chad Brockman. He sounds like he'd be in WWE.
Ask him that. He might have some feedback.
Ladies and germs. Coming up next on episode 176 of the RIP podcast. Chad Brockman. My best Vince impersonation. Is that pretty good?
It's not bad.
You're fired.
Guy's a pretty good actor too, isn't he?
Me? I am.
No, Vince.
Hello.
Chad.
Hey.
Gotti Jr. here with Jason Ruona. What's up?
Not much. How you doing?
All right, buddy.
How you doing, Chad?
Hey, Jason.
Chad, I like the name. I was telling Jason earlier, sounds like something from WWE. Chad Brockman. What do you think of that?
Coming from the top rope. Yeah, coming from the top rope, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, right. See that, Jason?
Everybody knows a little bit of wrestling, I guess.
Chad watches wrestling. With a name like that, he's got to.
Heck yeah. I grew up with wrestling. I'm an 80s kid.
There you go.
Nice.
Who is your guy?
Who's your guy? Always Hulk Hogan, but I like some weird ones like Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Was a great one. Jake the Snake Roberts.
Yeah.
You gotta go some old school ones. Of course, Andre the Giant. Everyone loved Andre the Giant.
Yeah. I wonder why those. It's amazing how that was a big time 80s thing for kids. I mean, it was huge.
Saturday nights.
I think a lot of it was Sunday mornings for me. Sunday morning wrestling a little bit.
Didn't they had like a what day is that the day they had the full show? Superstars or whatever it was called.
I think it was later 90s.
Yeah, that was. Yeah, they had like a recap show on Sundays, I think. Yeah.
I don't know. I quit watching after, what was it, 6 or 7 WrestleMania? I think it was.
We just got you back into wrestling. Jason's into wrestling. Look, he's buying monster trucks, RC monster trucks, like the NWO one he recently bought. Changed it over to JCO, but still.
Yeah, but it's not the same.
And then the Macho Man RC truck.
Okay. Oh, come on. The monster trucks are the wrestling version of RC.
It is. It really is. I was so mad when Ultimate Warrior beat Hogan at that WrestleMania, whatever it was. Man, that was such a disappointment.
Not everybody can win, Jason, unfortunately.
Yeah, I just, I...
Was it a turnoff to you then?
Yeah, I was done, man.
Yeah.
I don't know that was the sole reason. I don't know if that's really fair, but I think most people seem to have outgrew the wrestling. But.
I think there are better stories back then for wrestlers. I mean, the Iron Sheik, stuff like that. There was better backstories for wrestlers than there are nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely, it's got to be tough trying to come up with something new and topping yourself. And what have they been in that, obviously that business has been around forever, but since the 80s, it's a 30-year deal.
Well, okay. We'll get off wrestling, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Before we go in, I could go on the whole show about it if you want.
No.
Jason don't want to.
We'll take a break.
All right. Chad Brockman of MHOR RC, the long-standing raceway in the United States. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Chad, he will every so often he puts vintage items on Facebook and tries to get people to name what they are. That That's pretty funny, right, Chad? You get some pretty good responses.
I love doing that. I love finding old stuff. Here lately, I've got a lot of people emptying out their garages and bringing on old stuff. It's like I love just taking pictures of it and just so I have it on file and can post it and get people's reactions to what used to be, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was thinking maybe I need to put together, like I got in some old 2000 milliamp battery packs, stuff like that, and Comlays and stuff like that. And I was almost going to put together a whole pit of, like, back in the 80s, what you had to have to race.
You should just have a pit spot that doesn't go anywhere, and it's just set up like you would race in the 80s, and it has, like, some guy's name there, and it just stays there forever.
You know, with your 10 battery packs you had to have, you know, your motor lathe with your 10 different motors.
Mm-hmm. When you race, Chad, when you have time to race out there, do you run mod or do you run stock?
I usually run stock. I've never really been that good at mod. I've never had enough time to practice to be good at mod. I run mod every now and then, like I've been in the Reedy race twice, and I've run mod there, but I just don't have enough time to practice, unfortunately.
Yeah. So, a lot of people are going to ask, but, kind of how did, there's some questions that go through this, but you want to start a little from the beginning, I guess. Tell us how you got into the track there and with your dad and all that type of stuff.
Sure, no problem. About 1983, 84, I got a Tania Frog for Christmas. I played with it around the house, stuff like that, and one day I broke the servo saver on it, basically, and we called all around. It was on a Saturday. Called all around trying to find a place to go pick it up, and one of the local hobby shops that's no longer around, EJ's Trains and Hobbies, had a servo saver. So we rushed over there before he closed, and there's a big box on the counter. And while my dad's paying for the part, I'm looking in the box, and there's just RC cars in it, radio in it, charger, batteries, just full of stuff. And I'm like, what's this for? He goes, I'm going racing. We're like, really? Where? And it was all the way on the other side of town, 52nd and Sheridan. And we went out that night and watched, and it was an old track. It was new back then. It used to be a tri-oval dirt track, and they just converted to off-road. And so basically from Wednesday and Saturday nights from then on, we were there racing. That was back when I first started racing. It was 3-minute long racing, and you actually stopped when the time was up. So you went 3 minutes, and the announcer told you to stop your car, and you'd get like 7-8 laps with 3/4. So you'd have 7 3/4 lap is how you qualified.
Huh. Wow.
Yeah. Timing was done with the hand counters. You do it like events to see how many people walk through the door or something like that.
Yeah, the click buttons.
Yeah, exactly. There was 10 of them on a board in front of a guy, and he would press, there was a number above each one, he'd press each one so you know how many laps you had. This before really computer timing was really that prevalent in racing. We raced there for a couple of years, and then December of 86, my dad, well, a little bit before then, my dad decided it'd be good to have a track on this side of town, so we did a lot of research, and my dad's owned businesses before when he was younger, and decided to open up a track over here on this side of town, in Aurora. And December of 86 is when we opened the door, and been chugging along ever since.
So are you in the same location?
Same location. We have never moved. It's been there since day one. That's one of the stipulations we have for being one of the oldest commercial tracks in the United States is we're still in the original building, and I've been there since day one, so I'm still basically the original owner.
Yeah.
31 years plus now.
So when you went as a kid and your dad was running it, did you basically work the store then too, I would imagine, right?
I worked the store back when we first started. Me and my brother were allowed one vehicle to play with, And we weren't allowed, at the original time, we weren't allowed to change anything on the car, so we could still show it to the customer and then let them see it. And that's back when wiper arm speed controls came with vehicles,
Right.
all the mechanical stuff. And my first car I picked was the Kyosho Optima, and it had a 3-position wiper arm speed control that you would fry out, left and right from running it too much.
Right.
And so you'd work on that, and most of the time I spent up in the hobby shop learning the hobby shop, because then I really never worked on my car, so I had to learn everything from scratch and build up my knowledge to what I know today.
So when you were running then, what was the hot class of racing back then, and what was it mod?
Back then there was only 2 classes: 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive, really mod. Then each one had mod or stock in it. And back then, mod was definitely a little bit bigger. I thought we had a bigger turnout for mod. Seems everyone would run it. 4-wheel drive was big because Yokomo had their Yokomo Dogfighter SE, the Ranch Pit Shop Edition, and Schumacher was just starting to come out a little bit then, and so you get definitely that with 4-wheel drive, a little bit Hirobo, and some other cars I'm completely forgetting right now. The Optima, of course, and then 2-wheel drive was basically Kyosho versus Associated back then.
Yeah.
There really wasn't too many 2-wheel drives that were competing with the RC10 platform at that time.
Yeah, I remember, and so I remember my buddies, Brad and Brett Rels, and,
I haven't heard that name in a long time.
Yeah, but they were probably around there, right?
Yeah, no, they were around when we first opened. They were around for quite a while. Then they moved, I'm assuming, down to Florida not long after.
They might have moved to Tennessee first. But yeah, exactly. But yeah, when I talked to Brad, his memories of racing in Colorado, he loved it. He loved racing there, and he did 12 scale too. I remember him talking about, and but yeah, they have a lot of good memories from those days.
Yeah, the nice thing about being around for this long, a bunch of my races are now spread all over the world, and every now and then I hear from them. It's really nice to see where they have gone. It's they come back and they stop by and say hi. So it's a nice family that I've grown over the last 30 plus years now.
So what's kind of, this is kind of a big question, but the differences between the equipment now and when you started, and do you think that it's really, has it made things, has it helped, or has it hurt, or what do you think is the whole landscape of it compared to being back then in the 80s versus now?
I think definitely back in the 80s we had more fun. Unfortunately, it was a lot more work. When we originally started, batteries were 1,200 milliamps. For a while there, you couldn't even really take laps. When we started going up to 5 minutes, stuff like that, you really couldn't take laps on the track. To practice, you basically set your car down and hoped you made the whole race. Definitely motor turning. I just got in a bunch of old parts. The guy cleaned out his garage, and there's 3 Cobra lathes in there. There's a Tekin motor dyno in there. There's a stock lathe and the mod lathe. Back before we could even open cans up. You had to take off a brush hood and cut it inside the motor to make it still be legal.
Mm-hmm.
There's definitely a lot more work with your vehicle back then, and I think people really took pride in getting the motors just right, getting the batteries taken care of, and stuff like that. I miss a little bit of that, It seems like people really worked on their cars back then, and now people don't work on their cars as much. I think it kind of forced you to have to work on your cars because if the motor didn't work, it really didn't work. And now
if you wanted to race, you had to work.
Yeah, and now it's not really there. Now it's kind of you just plug the car in and go, and you have power all the time. I could probably go back in my back room. If there's 100 people in my back room, I could probably say 98% of them have never put a drop of oil on their motor in their life.
Yeah.
And they just run it and go, and if it happens to stop working, they'll go buy another motor. And it's like, we always had to work on our motors, make sure they worked well, and make sure the brushes weren't too short, make sure springs weren't deformed from being overheated. The one thing I do love, I immensely love about the change between now and then is radios. I think radios are so much better. I'm so tired. I'm so glad I never have to hear the words, someone's on my frequency, or,
I'm glitching.
Someone's got their radio on. And it's just like, I'm so glad I don't have to hear that anymore.
Yeah.
But the radios, I think, are the best improvement that's ever happened over the years. Brushless and LiPo, yes, it's an improvement. I don't have to have 10 batteries, 5 for practice and then 3 for qualifying and then 1 for the main, because you never want to run them twice in a row.
Yeah.
So, you get by with 2 batteries, so it's kind of nice. But that also, in turn, is worse for the hobby shop because he's not selling as many battery packs as he would have been before.
Yeah.
So we have to find other ways to bring money in. But, I think the basic 3 have been the big improvements: brushless, LiPo, and radios. Those are the 3 that I tell people all the time that's the huge difference between now and then.
Remember when you had to have multiple radios for cars?
Oh my God, yeah! I used to have like 4 XL2P radios from Airtronics.
Yeah. And I remember traveling and having 2 radio bags. 1 radio for each car, and that would seem so ridiculous to most people today. It would be like, what are you doing with all these radios?
I'm amazed how much like I just brought an M12 in, or an M8 in, and I just sold it on eBay for $40. I was like, oh, I guess some people still want this stuff.
Yeah, one big collector. I'm sure he'll buy something from you eventually. Is Brad. He's been going nuts with the vintage stuff, and he's so deep in all of it. He's into the MIP stuff and MIP 4-wheel drive cars, and chain drives and cable drives, and
cable drive.
Yeah, he's all over just about every side of it, and he's got some pretty big money in it, but he's like I just love this stuff, and it's hard to let go.
MIP Legends is one of my top 5 cars. I wish I would have either kept or never sold. And it's just one of those things you're like, oh, I wish I would have had it. And it's like, I have a friend of mine up north. He owns Anchorage House of Hobbies, and his dad, I think, has 2 of them sitting in the case just collecting dust. It's like, oh,
wow.
You just so want them to me.
Yeah, I think I met them at the show in Vegas.
Yeah.
I didn't realize he had that car though, or those cars. That's pretty cool.
If you're ever in Alaska, you should stop by. They have cases full of old stuff. Just RC stuff.
Can he actually buy it?
Cruisers, everything.
Can he actually?
No, he doesn't sell it.
Oh.
No, it's all his dad's stuff, and his dad just wants to hang on to it, doesn't want to get rid of it. And I kind of understand that, but he is it's just a big collector. They're just sitting in glass cases. And every now and then I mention something, he sends me a picture of it. Oh, I got one of those. Like, oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm like,
you're like,
I'd really like to have one.
Yeah.
I wish MIP would come back with it. I really wish they would. And they say it's not worth their time, anything like that. And it's like, I'd pay probably $300-400 for a Legend conversion kit for an RC10 easily. you know. But you know, they stuck to their guns and haven't brought it out. But you know, maybe one day they'll crack like they did on the black MIP wrenches. So.
Yeah, it's funny. Those are kind of a limited run, right? Every time they do those, it's like, hey, we're only making this many. And
yeah, then you turn around again, they're making them again.
Yeah.
They're on the third run of them right now.
Yeah, the third limited.
We're making money on these.
The third limited edition run.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it works.
I think they'd be surprised how many people would buy them.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. And I'm sure it would be nice to have the RC10s to go along with it. I'm sure, but they have them on eBay. You can get World's cars and from that batch.
Yeah, and I know somebody that has a case of the re-releases in his back room right now. So if I really had to get one, I could.
Is that you, or you have another guy?
I have another guy. I have a re-release in the box right now, and if I had the room for it, I would love to do like an exploded view of the whole thing over like a black piece of wood or something like that, you know, black laminate.
Yeah.
And then explode the whole car out and put it under like plexiglass or something like that. I think that'd be an awesome display at the track.
It really would. I want to say, was it maybe Theo was the one that told me he was the one hoarding a few.
Theo hoards a lot of stuff, I think.
I think he was telling me that he might be hoarding some RC10 kits. I don't remember though. There was a couple guys that have told me that they've, they kind of went a little heavy on it just to hold on to for a while.
Yeah, I bought a bunch for the shop and I kept one aside, and they sold out in a snap of a finger. And I just kind of went. I had a customer that really wanted one, so I'm like, here, I'll just sell you mine. So I sold mine. And actually, I had to go to another hobby shop here in town and pay full price for mine.
You're like, well, how does this work?
Yeah, but I've got it and I'm happy with it. I only have two brand new. I guess I have three brand new kits that I've never opened. I have the re-release RC10. I have the re-release Optima, and I have a brand new in the box Super Champ.
Ah. I don't think I've ever actually built or ran a Super Champ.
Neither have I, but I
wonder how it compares. I wonder how it compares with the RC10 stuff. Because that was kind of the car before the RC10, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That was kind of like the race car before the RC10.
Yeah, definitely.
Did you guys when Losi kind of entered the picture? How did that go for you guys at the track in the old days? Did that was that a big thing, or how did that go?
That was a big thing. We were already associated with the Ranch Pit Shop. We bought pinion gears from them. I know they made RC10 stuff. So we had already bought stuff from the Ranch Pit Shop, basically. And so when they came out with the JRX2, we were one of the first people to really stock them well. And I still have an original JRX2 box in my back room. The white box with the JRX2 logo across the front of it. It's not in great shape, but I still have it.
So that was before they actually had the car on the box. It was just a JRX2 logo?
It was just a white box with a JRX2 logo across it.
Okay. I don't think I've even seen one of those before.
I'll send you a picture of mine. It's got a hole through the middle of it, but you can still get the idea of it.
Yeah, you're like, use your imagination.
Yeah, we used, because we used to carry the Yokomo Pro SC Ranch Pit Shop Edition. That was a huge seller for us. Mm-hmm. And that's another car I wish I would have kept. I think those are neat cars, too.
Yeah, that was the Gotti Jr car that he ran, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's back when four-wheel drives were noisy because they had chains in them, you know?
Right. Yeah, I remember when the Predator car first came out, four-wheel drive car, and we were at the Worlds, and they'd run that thing in an indoor track. And I've talked about that a few times, but when we were all running belt cars by then, and they come out with that Predator, and that thing was so loud. It's like the guy with, the couple guys that were running them from England, it would just, you couldn't hear, it's like, it felt like somebody just fired up a nitro car and started running a qualifier. And like the announcer, it was like muffling the announcer, the rest of the racers. Like, it was like a big thing. You hear guys like talking about it after, like they were upset because it's like, man, I'm in the qualifier with the Predator car. I can't even concentrate on what I'm doing out here. It's so funny. But so yeah, kind of moving along. When did you actually take over running completely? Sort of from your dad running.
I kind of took it over probably about 5 years ago. I officially bought it in 2017. It's the first year actually was officially the owner of it. So I ran it for about 3 years. Dad just kind of stepped away and let me run it, and I ran it for about 3 years, and then 2017, so almost a year and a half now. I bought it from my dad and been slowly chugging along with it.
I mean, I noticed that one of the things that I always notice is you're real kind of active on, social media and, trying to get some excitement, keep people updated. And, there's been times where it seems like you have a dedicated area where you do some videos, and, you've done some 30-minute paint job stuff, and, just constant, trying something to stay active and keep, people recognizing that something's going on that day or that week, right?
You have to keep your shop in people's minds. As soon as they forget about it, then you're going to go away. And that's, you have to constantly change things up and move, make things different. I have a little 10 by 10 room in my basement that I basically made a little studio out of, that I can record out of. I also record at the shop, and, try and keep as much information flowing as possible, because the more information you can get out there, the more it keeps people in their mind that you're still around, because things happen, life happens, and you get forgotten about because you're not a high priority. A hobby shop, racetrack is not a high priority in everybody's life. I wish it was, but it's not. Mm-hmm. So, people's lives, get enveloped in their lives, and, they have to go to the mow the lawn, they get a sickness in the family. It pulls them away from the racetrack, and they forget about it, and they move on to other things. And you have to try and keep, throwing lines out there to get them to remember, oh, hey, I used to have a lot of fun out there. I'm going to go do that again, They go in their closet and they find their RC stuff that's been, collecting dust for, a couple months, couple years, and they're like, oh, I want to go do this again. They come back to the shop, You have to keep it out there just so you keep it fresh in their minds. Mm-hmm. Because as soon as they forget, you're done for.
So at this point, what do you say is your, are you getting new people in, or, what's the cycle looking like in terms of people coming in and trying it? And then what's the how are people doing to, week to week that are your regulars, I guess you could say?
Being in business for 30 years, I've noticed a cycle, basically. You get the kids that are usually younger than 16, that their family brings them in, and they stay until about 16. So they get a car, and they disappear for a little bit. They usually come back after usually 21 or something like that. Usually after they're out of college a little bit, they come back and they run for a little bit, then they get married, they disappear again, and then you'll see them here and there, and then they get divorced, and then their kids get old enough, and their kids find their RC stuff buried in the back of a closet somewhere and go, hey, what's this? Hey, I used to race here. Let's go see if it's still there. And they come back. And so I really see that pattern going along, and it's been consistent for 30 years easily.
Yeah.
Sometimes it gets less, sometimes it gets more. I really have seen a lot more people coming back here lately. They've dug stuff out of their closet, or they used to remember, and then they find me on Facebook, and they start talking to me on Facebook, going, hey, I used to race. Yeah, I remember you. And it's like, come on down. It's like, invite them down. I've got a car. If you want to run it, come on and run it. And, got to get them hooked again and hopefully get their kids hooked and start the cycle back all over again.
Yeah.
But, it's definitely, I definitely see racing thinning out, it's not as popular as it used to be, unfortunately. We need to really work hard. All tracks really need to work hard to try and keep their customer base happy. We're a hobby shop and a track, but the number one thing we sell is fun. And you have to realize that it's not an RC car, it's not a boat, it's not a plane. All hobby shops around, they sell fun. That's their number one sale thing they need to realize. And if they're not selling fun, they're not doing their job right. And so the more fun you can make an atmosphere scene, that's why I keep my videos, try and keep my videos all positive and keep them around as much as possible. I try and show that we're having fun and stuff like that. So people want to go have fun somewhere that is having fun. I've been to tracks where you walk in and it's like The Walking Dead to get someone
death warmed over.
Yeah, it's like, well, what
fun's
this?
Yeah.
And it's like, no, you have to be exciting. You have to be, thrilling. When I took this business over, my wife pulled me aside and said, you have to change. And I was like, what? And he's like, you got to change your attitude. Your attitude is wrong. And it's being in a business for a long time. You get sour.
You get jaded.
You get jaded. It's just one of those things. It's like you get run down from all the bad, online people that, say stupid things. And unfortunately take those to heart, and that just drags you down. And eventually you just become bitter. And that bitterness comes out during your sales, and it hurts your sales. So you have to somehow, as soon as the door unlocks, you flip that sign to open, you have to put on that happy face, and you have to push through it, and you have to make your place fun.
Yeah, I think that's something I always kind of notice, going around and it's just like you said. Sometimes you walk in places and you're just like, man, it just doesn't have that feel in here. The atmosphere just isn't there, and you still see people doing it and wanting to be involved in sort of that cold atmosphere. And it always really kind of surprises me that people do like it in that atmosphere. And I think there's something about, too, for whatever reason, when it's indoors, things are a little colder. I know when we race outdoors, people seem to be a little different. But when you don't have that option, you do have options indoor to make things a little lighter, with painting and, music and, like you said, videos and announcing and so like you said, yeah, I've noticed that. It is a big thing.
Yeah, it's something I'm trying to, I'm trying to help other tracks out with it too. I've talked to a lot of other tracks. I'm not the track that, it's like, oh my God, you're another track. I don't want to talk to you. No, I want to talk to you because I want to learn what you did right, and hopefully you want to learn what I did right, and we could build a better track system overall. My dad a long time ago started a club called RCTOA, Radio Control Track Owners Association, and it went on for quite a while. Then it kind of died, and that was before really internet kind of could really help it out. And so I got thinking about it and actually started a Facebook page back up for it. It's RCTOA. It's open to any track out there in the country, and basically it's tracks helping tracks out. And by doing that, I'm hoping that, I can learn something. I've been around 30 years. I still do not know everything. I will never know everything.
Yeah.
And, it's great to be able to talk to somebody and go, hey, I don't know how to do this. How do you do this? And it's like, hey, someone else can go, hey, I've tried this. Let's do it this way. And it makes it to where, you learn, and you can learn from people who have gone through their mistakes so you don't make the same mistakes. And hopefully it builds better tracks all over the country is what I'm hoping for.
And if they want to be in this group, what do you say? Tell them where to go again.
All they have to do is go to RCTOA, stands for Radio Control Track Owners Association, and just hit subscribe, and basically what I'll do is I'll ask you a couple questions, and then I will message you on Facebook just to double check, make sure you're tracks. We try and only get tracks in there. And if you are, then I'll put you right in. It's free to go in, and you can ask questions as much as you want, complain, stuff like that. But, it's a great place for tracks events, but it's even a better place for tracks to learn and grow.
Yeah. I mean, in your opinion right now, I mean, since you do have a lot of contact with different tracks and everything, or hobby stores, who do you think is, I don't know, what do you think is your top, 3 to 5 that seem to be really on sort of the up and up and doing well with it, and, in your opinion, I guess?
They're doing really well. SCRC, Brock, he does an amazing job, and I've told him that a couple times. He's really been working on videos, stuff like that, doing a great job. Beach RC in South Carolina, Brett Densforth, he's doing a great job. He's online a lot. He does great work. OCRC does a great job, but I don't really think they need to really work that hard to be that great because they are OCRC.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to go there. Other tracks would be something like, I think 405 Raceway in Oklahoma does a good job. Unfortunately, they are going to be, they ran into a huge problem this past week where they lost their lease.
Okay.
And they're having to find a new place to move to. They were partnered with a go-kart track, and the go-kart track went out of business.
Okay.
And now they're going to have to move away. But they always do stuff. There's a new one called I think Newman's RC down in Texas, I think it is.
Okay.
They do a great job online as well. That'd probably be my good ones there. Those are probably the ones that I not really follow the most, but I see the most online, and they're doing a great job just getting things out there. Lawton RC is another great one. They do a bunch of stuff. I always see their stuff, and I've talked to them a couple times.
Was it Lawton?
Yeah, Lawton RC Raceway, LAWTON RC Raceway.
Okay.
They're in Oklahoma City, or Lawton, actually, Oklahoma is where they're at. They're an oval track down there in Oklahoma.
I guess that's a good question for you. We could circle to is on the, over the years, how has your track changed in terms of the dirt and the surface and the prep, and then how do you see some of this carpet AstroTurf stuff, and then let's talk about oval a little bit.
Okay. Originally started back in the 80s. All 80s stuff was loose dirt. There was no such thing as packed dirt. There were hard tires, hard and harder tires, I guess would be the best way to describe them.
Yeah.
Almost a lot like today's carpet tires, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, it really is.
I would be surprised if some of the compounds are the same as what was back then to now. I just got a bunch of old tires in, and showing new people what tires used to be like, and they're amazed that we used to use tires that didn't have foam in them and stuff like that. But it was really a loose track. Back when we first started, we almost I look back now, and we used to change the track once a week with rotor till, everything. Okay. And we did that for a couple of years, and then we kind of started getting away, going farther and farther away. So maybe once a month, and I know for a while there we didn't do it for probably 3 to 4 months, and now we're really settled into about every other month we change. So every 2 months we change track. It's gone definitely to a harder pack design. We're still the same dirt that we started when we opened. We've added dirt twice, I think, in the 30 years, just a little bit here, a little bit there, and but definitely the track is now, it's hard packed, super high traction. Definitely more of a tire a lot more tire wear than there ever used to be. As far as carpet goes, I don't know if you have to really run on new carpet. I think the last time I actually ran off-road on carpet was 1990, so it's been just a few years since I've run on carpet for off-road. We used to do an event called Tri-State Auto Show. It used to be the largest auto show in Colorado, and we used to go there to race. And we used to have an RC race that had oval, on-road, and off-road.
Mm-hmm.
And it was oval on Thursday, off-road, on-road on Friday, and off-road on Saturday, and then Sundays were all mains. And we used to race that a lot, and then we took it over in 1990 and ran it for 1 year, and then they just discontinued it. So it's been a few years since I've run on actual carpet. I really want to try it one day. I got an invitation down to Albuquerque to run down their new track, and I just never had a chance. I got too busy and didn't have a chance to go down there yet to try it out. It seems interesting. I've heard a lot of stories from different people who have run on AstroTurf and just carpet off-road and the pros and cons, and I really need to, I think, sit down and see it for myself, to see what it does and how it is and stuff like that. I will never, and I have no plans to ever change my indoor track to carpet.
Right.
I like off-road. I like dirt.
Mm-hmm.
I like the imperfections of dirt, I guess it is. It's not always the same, I love carpet racing, touring car, 12 scale, I love that. And I've enjoyed doing it, but I don't think I would ever want to make my indoor track off-road. It's just something that, I don't know, I really, really enjoy the dirt. But unfortunately, I think for now, for tracks coming in new, I think carpet's the easiest way to go.
Right.
It's you don't have to worry about telling the landlord that you're bringing in tons of dirt to put on their nice concrete floor that might ruin it. I'm sure my concrete floor looks wonderful after 30 years. But carpet's easy to put in. It's you put an easy subfloor down and put it in and run, and it's definitely clean. I get dirt thrown everywhere, and always are having to clean it. And all my parts in the hobby shop, even though my hobby shop's in a separate room, are still covered in a layer of dust from the dirt.
Mm-hmm.
Carpet, you don't have that. I can definitely see the advantage of carpet for new business. I mean, on-road, off-road, it's easy to do. Just change jumps around, stuff like that. I think once tracks figure out how to make it so where off-road doesn't tear up the carpet as bad, I think then it's going to be even easier.
Yeah. You had some, I noticed you did some promotions, I don't know if it was last week on, you had some camps for kids during the summer, plus there's an AMP camp.
Yeah, there's an AMP camp. The AMP, ECX makes an AMP monster truck that is, everything you need is in the box. It has tools, it has all the parts, the tires are glued, the shocks are built, the bottom differential's built, but you have to build everything else. It's 250 plus parts in the kit.
Okay.
You can do these. They actually have kind of helped you out a little bit and kind of shown you how things have done. I've talked to a couple other hobby shops around the country that have done these, and it's just a nice way to help get people into it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm trying it now, and it's not as popular as I thought it'd be, as I hoped it'd be, but it's a start. We have 4 people signed up for it right now. Mm-hmm. And the nice thing about it is one of my employees is a teacher, and one of my customers, him and my employee work at the same school, and they've actually run a tech class at the school. And they actually have built these cars as part of the tech class. They've done it twice. So they're actually going to be running the show because they've done this before. So at least I've got really good experience people running it, and it'll be fun. It'll be something different. It's something that I think is needed for tracks to do. I think camps of not necessarily build camps, but just really classes, anything like that. One of my racers came up with tuning with TLR. Zeke Bollinger came up with this idea, and I've helped him run with it, made promotions for it, stuff like that, and hopefully get more people in and help build back the fun of RC racing. Show people what they're doing wrong with their car, because a lot of people just are too afraid to ask, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And so we're trying to make it as friendly as possible, to try to make the back room even more friendly, so people know that, hey, I can go up to this team driver, Zeke Bollinger, Travis Fisher, Jim Domenico, anything like that, and they're more than willing to help me out, even though I'm not driving the same vehicle they are. They're still going to help me out, and with them helping me out, it makes my car easier to drive, and I can have a lot more fun with it. And that's the end of the day. I want everyone to have more fun with it.
Yeah.
It always goes back to that fun thing.
Yeah, you're selling the fun. So, you had the amp camp. You had something else where you were doing, I want to say that I saw something where there was how to solder and how to do this and how to do that.
We do classes as well.
Okay.
In fact, I just had a customer want me to open up an airbrush camp, like an airbrush class. So I'll probably do an airbrush class. I've painted bodies for years and kind of have semi-retired out of it. But if one of my customers wants to see something, how to do it, I'll gladly do a class for it.
Yeah.
But I think, with this tuning with TLR we have coming up, it's definitely, we're going to show them the basics, caster, camber, how to get your car ready for the track and stuff like that, that people don't know about. And then we'll do soldering camps. And actually I'm working on soldering videos on how to solder, how to install speed controls, stuff like that, and to try and get more information out there for people so they can be more informed.
Yeah, I mean, I see that being pretty interesting, and maybe it'll get to the point where people are they do want to come and learn these type of things more and more as the internet and their phones and everything starts to get old or the same. Maybe people will start branching out more. And I don't know, will these things come in cycles? The question is, I don't know. Sometimes what you describe really sounds a lot like, to me, when the little bit of time I've spent with the RC monster trucks, it reminds me a little bit of racing RC in the early 90s, when you built everything and nothing was really completely done for you. So you had to be a little more hobby savvy, I guess you could say.
Uh-huh.
Where to me the race cars these days are just so good when you build all this stuff that it really comes down to, once you get serious as a racer and you do know some of the basics, you're looking for results. So keeping that fun in it, like you say, is so important. And being realistic, right?
Yeah. And that's something I need to figure out how to make the track more fun, to where I think I need to figure out how to make practice more fun is the big thing. Because people don't want to practice. And I think if people get in practice, they could enjoy the hobby more to get more out of it in the long run, because the practices will show them what's happening. Unfortunately, I have too many bench racers that, work all week, basically, on putting every hop up possible on a vehicle, and come to the track on Saturday and throw it down with any practice and wonder why their car's all over the place.
Yeah. Yeah, there's just no, the actual track time, you just cannot replace that.
No, you cannot. But I need to figure out maybe some award system or something like that, to make people want to come to practice. And,
I was talking to Nick Black once about what he was telling me is almost what's kind of strange is a little bit of the opposite at the time, where he had a lot of guys that were coming to practice, but they were like kind of scared to come and race. And what I was asking him at the time, I was like, it'd be kind of interesting if you could start keeping track of these guys' lap times and laps without them knowing about it, and then you can present it to them at some point and say, hey, you can print this out, you can take a look at it, and you can see how it kind of measures up to the people that were racing last Wednesday or whatever, and trying to get them less intimidated, or was the thing I was talking with him about, was so that it was kind of easing their way into coming and running, because they didn't feel they were so bad. They could say, oh man, yeah, so I kind of get it, like I kind of fit in here somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was talking to him about. But yeah, in your situation is a little bit opposite. It sounds like where guys they're not putting any priority on the practice side. They're all putting all the priority on the during the week bench racing, talking smack on the internet, and then maybe then coming to race on the weekend.
Exactly. So if I can figure out a way to get them to the track more, to just spend time at the track, and it's amazing what you can do after you've been on the track for a little bit. You can figure things out and figure out how to make actually that your bench time more worthwhile, instead of just putting parts on a vehicle and thinking it's going to make it the best.
Yeah, I think you're definitely right about that. So what's next? What's next for you guys, and what's going on at MHOR, and what events and stuff do you have coming up? Besides the summer camp stuff like we talked about.
Not really. This is our slow time of year. Summer in Colorado is when everyone wants to go outside and have fun. A little bit of 8 scale, stuff like that. So we'll open up. We have our outdoor track now. It used to be an on-road track. Last year we ripped it out and made it back to an off-road track like it used to be. And so we've got a new driver stand we're working on that's a lot taller than the old one used to be. It's up on a storage container. So we have a nice view of our track now, and we're going to get that going. We're going to start racing on that this Friday. We're going to do some night racing on Friday. And then I help run the local 8-scale series here in town. So we have one big race a month, basically, at all these different tracks around Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm the final race in September. And we have a series. It's basically a series race. We'll do that, and then after that, we'll slowly start building back up to our busy season. October area, end of September, October, we'll start building back up for our busy indoor season. And then Pizza Feast in November, and then our big race is Rumble in the Rockies in February.
Wait, did I hear pizza?
Always pizza. Pizza's great.
Yes.
We have a Pizza Feast race we started just a little bit after we opened. It probably got started in 87, and it basically just started as a thank you to our racers, and we'd bring in free pizzas for everybody and have a race. And it just has grown into a big race, and probably about 4 years ago we actually made it a 3-day race. It used to just be held on Saturday. We used to be there till like 4 o'clock in the morning on Saturday, or on Sunday I guess it'd be. And we decided to make a 3-day race, and so that's a 3-day race. We bring in about 40 to 50 pizzas, and everyone has a lot of fun with it.
Is this why we got a question from Rob Sturgill saying, how do you feel about 3-day races every other week?
Oh, that's our 8-scale race season. We have like a 3-day race every other weekend.
Oh, okay. I thought Rob wanted pizza every other week.
No. Rob's a troll. Rob is on everybody's Facebook page, so you can just... Am I wrong, Jason?
He's on everyone's Facebook page.
Yeah.
He must have...
I don't think he sleeps.
He must have the ability to be on all day long somehow, because he doesn't miss much, does he?
Well, you have the ability to be on your phone now with Facebook, Jason.
That's true.
Yeah.
Oh, I think it's like embedded in him or something, because he is usually the first one to comment on almost everything I post, and I think he's probably the first one to comment on anything Jason posts. So
yeah, same here with mine. He makes me feel good. I can count on Rob coming through.
He's like,
Rob.
Go ahead.
Rob's a good guy.
Yeah, he's a morale booster for me. So.
Yeah, he's one of my local racers. But yeah, just last year it was really bad. We had it seemed like every other weekend was a 3-day race, and it just killed racing. So originally, my series race was held on a different race from big races. So I actually moved all my series races to every track's big race. So it just made it. You got basically 2 races in one. You got series race, and you got their big race involved. So now we have one big race a month. That made it a little bit better, but I still think there's way too many big races all over the world. I think every track should maybe have 1, maybe 2, per track, if that. I have about 3. I have one in September, one in November, one in February, and it's unfortunately they're expensive for racers to run, and there's not a lot of money the tracks make out of them. So it's kind of, it's a lot of work for tracks to get everything going, and then usually the week after or the month after, everything just dies, and so even business dies after that. So it's hard on tracks, it's hard on racers. I think everyone in the RC industry just needs to figure out how to cut some of those down to make them more important like they used to be. I remember 89 nationals during the height in Michigan that, it was a huge turnout for, 2-wheel drive and 4-wheel drive was only 2 classes there. And I remember there being a ton of people there to run,
Yeah, there's 700 something entries.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. 90 nats in, was that Livermore, California?
Yeah.
That one was, another big one. That was indoors, but, it was still a big one. But, you don't see races like that anymore. And it's because there's so many big races now that, it's just, do really, any of them really mean anything anymore?
Yeah, it very much, it starts to water down what any of it really means.
Yeah, exactly. It'd be nice if there was just one big series. I think Jimmy Babcock does a great job with, Jimmy Babcock series. And he's slowly spreading that out to different areas to race. I think stuff like that's kind of cool, and you have kind of an end one. But if there's just one good off-road race to go to, one good oval race to go to, one good on-road race to go to, it'd be that way people could build up to it. It'd be neat if there could be qualifiers. Maybe these little local races are qualifiers for some big race somewhere. That'd be a great thing. It's the way, unfortunately, it's the way ROAR used to be. You used to win regionals, and you could, if it was a qualifying year, you could win regionals and go on to Worlds.
Yeah.
But they haven't done that, since the 80s. Regionals basically disappeared once ROAR took away that capacity, basically, of regionals actually meant something.
Why did they take it away?
Stupidity? I don't know. It's still a major question. I think, unfortunately, you get a bunch of people who can't agree or only agree one side. It seems to really turn around, and unfortunately, the vocal people who really probably shouldn't be talking are talking, and the people who actually know stuff don't say anything, and it's kind of like politics,
Yeah.
I ran a regionals. I believe our 94 or 93 regionals. That qualified you for the nationals, and then the nationals qualified you for the worlds. And I thought that was a pretty cool system at that time.
Yeah.
Of course,
if someone would come back up with that again, a regional race, a good regional race in each area, that right there will qualify you for, a national race. And, I don't know if, you still have to pay to go to the national race, but maybe if your ticket, if some of your entry from your regional race was put towards helping you out, with your entry at the national race, it's just something to help you get there, because there's some people that just can't really afford a lot. But, even if it's just regional race this year and it qualifies you for nationals next year.
Yeah.
That way they've got time to save up and get practice in and everything like that. But I don't know. There's an answer out there somewhere, and I don't know what it is, unfortunately. Or maybe I do, and I just haven't acted on it yet.
Don't want to say.
Did they get rid of all the regional directors they used to have for each region?
No, they're still regional directors.
So
I don't think they do anything anymore.
I was going to say, what do they do?
Yeah, I don't know.
I think the regional director for our region, I don't think he even races RC cars anymore.
Wow.
I think he hasn't raced RC cars for quite a while. He's a really good guy, but I think he just still does it because nobody else wants to do it.
Yeah. I think our regional directors, it's been off and on, but the guy that did it the most was just a guy, Bill Fraden. He was the region director. I mean, he's probably been, 20 or 25 years the regional director in Florida. And now I think there's another guy, David Larry, I believe, got involved at some point. But the one that I remember the most was Bill Fraden. He still races, but yeah, it's one of those positions sometimes that people, like you said, you get it. He gets it where other people do just because they're the only one that really wants to do it. What we talked about a couple times was with Brandon Rohde a little bit with Live RC and stuff about their live time and, the potential at some point where we could, instead of, if the ROAR thing and the regionals and the nationals and all that stuff is so hard to control, if we were able to put together where you could be ranked, the live time scoring would keep track of your ranking, and then that would determine everything between your merits and going to other events and qualifying, and basically your ranking and your activity and all that stuff could be monitored, which I think would be a really good thing.
Yeah, I think it definitely could be a start of something good.
But I mean, I know they've been trying to do some of that for a long time, and just one of the things that hasn't, I don't know, that's completely finished yet with that software.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things that aren't finished with really any of the timing softwares out there.
Yeah. Do you use Lifetime or do you use?
I use RC Scoring Pro.
Okay.
I've dealt with Doug for a long time, and I've helped him. I've asked him to do things, and he's done it, and he's been really good to me. And so, unfortunately, it makes it really hard for me to switch to Lifetime. Mm-hmm. I've done a lot with him, and he's done a lot for me, and so I have a really hard time switching. It's there are pluses, I think, to both sides. There's minuses to both sides, and I know some of my racers are really edging me to go to Lifetime, and I know Brandon wants me to go to Lifetime, and I try and be a loyal person, and I really hate to unfortunately have to tell RC Scoring Pro that I have to move on, but I think this is I think the third or fourth scoring program I've been out with over my life.
Yeah.
All the way back to a Commodore 128 with a cartridge that went inside of it.
Wow.
Yeah, that was our first scoring program. It was all hand scoring, but it was done on actually my Commodore 128 computer, and it was just a cartridge that plugged in the back of it.
Wow.
And that was scoring way back then. And then B&B Auto Score.
You should bring that out one night. Like, all right, guys, time to sign up.
Yeah, I still have my Commodore 128, so
That'd be hilarious.
I think I still have the cartridge somewhere too.
You can put that on your vintage pit table. Entries are open.
Yeah.
Signups are open.
Yeah. Yeah, that was definitely interesting back then. There's some things that are a lot better.
Do you want to, Gotti, do you want to go through some of the questions there that he's got?
This is from Tim. It says, with stock classes seeming less approachable for beginners than they once were, what do you see as the best way to attract new racers in the future? Is there a class you'd like to see take off like Slashes did years ago?
I'd love to see Traxxas come out with something that would save this industry again. They've done it twice. So, but I would like to see, honestly, at big races, I'd love to see a class where the only thing you bring is your car and your radio, and you're handed a speed control, a motor to put in your car, and right before your race, you're handed a battery pack. And it's a random battery pack out of 10 battery packs. You basically reach in and you grab a number, and it's charged by the track. So track has 2 or 3 quad chargers to charge all the batteries exactly the same amperage, stuff like that. And you basically handed a random battery, and you have to go out and race.
And one of those batteries is
the
dead.
motor has no timing on it. Yeah, could be. You never know. It's what you have to deal with in the real world.
That'd be awesome.
You do.
Yeah.
Oh, you got the uncharged one. Oh, that's too bad. Come back next year.
Yeah, too bad. Sorry. It's like Russian roulette,
Yeah.
You just learned a valuable lesson, buddy.
Yeah. We'll save that for the Gotti Invitational, Jason.
Yeah, we'll put some more sabotaging on your cars.
But, handing them a motor that has no timing to it, I think Tegan did it a little while back for an on-road race. They actually went through all their motors and even if they time them all pretty close to the same, so they get the same performance out of them in a certain range, and then basically lock them down. So you basically will probably red Loctite in the timing screws so they can't be moved, and basically give them to the person with a non-timing speed control. Then at the race, they can hand those back. It won't really increase the cost of their race anymore. And then the tracks can sell that, or if for a really good deal, they can buy the speed control motor combo. But that would make it more fair, almost like the old stock days, where you got handed a motor,
I was going to ask you about that.
What about that?
I was going to ask you about those days when you'd sign up for, we had our Winter Champs race here in Florida, which was huge. But, that was it was a handout motor. So you get there and then you could, then you bought your motor separately, I believe, or as part of your entry. I can't remember exactly how they used to do it. I think guys did it both ways. I'm sure you had races like that.
Yeah, you usually got a handout motor with the race, and you could buy an extra motor if you wanted to.
Okay.
But, that's I look at like the way you have to go through, like Roar does, or any place does that has to go through, and that does the full teching of motors, where they have to go through each motor and check it, make sure it's right, and that's ridiculous. It just takes up a ton of time, and there's really no set parameters. So like a track can't buy a gauge set that goes, hey, this is how you tech motors, A through B, A through Z, whatever. Here's a go no go gauge for the rotor. Here's everything you need to test it in step by step. And there's nothing like that out here for tracks. So tracks are on their own going, well, how do I tech it? And is this close enough? Is this not right? And we don't. Most tracks don't know. And so with a handout motor, the nice thing about that is you knew everybody was in spec, where everyone had the same stuff. Modified, you don't care. Everyone's allowed to really do anything you want to a mod motor. But stock is, stock should be stock. And the only downside I see with handout motors is a motor company can't go, hey, my motor won, X race.
Yeah.
That's the only downside to it, is for motor companies out there, they can't go, yeah, well, my stock motor is faster than your stock motor because it was a handout motor. And, the guy who was a handout, can say, hey, I won this race, but it really doesn't mean much to the people who really know.
Yeah.
And that's the only downside I see to that. But as far as like making it easier to tech, like speed controls that have the ability to do timing on them, I don't think they should really be allowed in stock class. I think it should be no timing only speed control be allowed in stock class. That way it'd just be easier to tech overall. And you wouldn't have the thing where it's, well, I hear, in quotes, that he can make his speed control blink, and it's not really in timing mode. That would take care of that altogether. Where it just doesn't even have that feature available to it. That would make things, I think, nicer just for stock racing also. Just anything to make it easier to tech. There's how many speed control companies out there in the market? I could tell you I know how 5 or 6 act in blinking mode. The other ones I have to look up, and they're not easy to look up sometimes. Then I get the old timers that bring in an old Novak speed control that never had timing on it, and I have to look it up, try and find old documentation to see if it ever had timing on it, and it's just like it's a mess.
Yeah, it really is. On our indoor national series, we have a class called Independent Stock that started on our Super Cup series here, where it's for people that aren't sponsored and all that type of. That's the main thing, and people that are either really young, veteran racers, or people that just don't want to go through all the other BS, and we've had a lot of success with it on both series that we do. The other one's one series is Florida, but yeah, we've been considering bringing that aspect into that class with the motor and speed control situation that you get when you sign up. The battery thing, I've thought about that too. Just inserting more of those things that are making it a little bit more equal, and to kind of take the rat race part of stock out of it, I guess you could say.
Then it comes down to driver, and they can't really do anything in the motor, and they can't really do anything to the speed control. They just have to really work on their car and work on their driving, and that's actually a true driver's class.
Yeah, I mean, I know I'd love to be able to just, like I talked about before, when we used to do the old Chicago show days, and Scotty Ernst ran the race there, and when he would he would ask you if you wanted to race, they'd sign you up, and you'd get there, they'd give you the car and the radio, and you'd run, and they were all like, to me, Mini Coopers, and I loved that, because to me it was like the ultimate challenge, just in driving. And I thought that was a cool concept. Obviously, it was for the Chicago show, but that was part of it.
Yeah, I miss that show.
Oh yeah, I mean that was everything before the internet. Everybody planned everything around that show, and that was a big deal.
I just miss Knuckles Sports Bar.
There's part of that too. I had a couple good times there.
Yeah, you had to pick Jason up off the floor.
No.
Oh, okay.
Maybe at, was it Excalibur?
Excalibur, that's where I was at, yeah.
Yeah, the nightclub in Chicago, right?
Yep, 4 floors of excitement.
Yeah, that was probably one of the rare clubs I was ever in that reminded me of being in a movie.
Oh, yeah?
Like you see the cool movies, and they go into these clubs, and you're just like, where is this club at?
Yeah, it's like
I've never seen it. They look clean, they look nice, and I'm just like, every club I've gone in, it's like they never look like this. It never looks like that Hollywood presentation.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Back then, they're all smoky.
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah,
I forgot about that part.
It came out smelling like an ashtray.
Yeah.
The next day, you put I used to put my clothes outside. I was like, I'm not even bringing this back in. So what? Going back into our questions, what do you got, Gotti?
This is from Darrell. He says, as change is always key to survival of a long-term business, what has been the hardest change to make over the years? And is there anything that you wish you would have done long before you did?
The biggest thing I wish I would have done, and still have never done, is I wish I would have bought the building I'm in. My dad had an opportunity probably 10 years ago, and we thought, no, we don't need to. And I really wish we would have bought the building. It would have been a lifesaver over time. I mean, unfortunately, with pot industry growing here in Colorado, buildings have skyrocketed. Building prices have skyrocketed. I mean, I don't think it's really possible unless somebody owns a building for another indoor track to open in Colorado, just because the prices of a track, prices of a building, basically. I mean, I've been here almost 32 years, I guess now. There's been over 80 tracks open and close in Colorado in that time.
Whoa.
Yeah. It's most of those were all pre-2000. I would say we probably went through like 60 of them before 2000.
Wow.
Here lately, we get them every now and then. Like we had one down Colorado Springs that closed down. The biggest reason why tracks close, unfortunately, I would say probably 90 to 95% of tracks close is due to bad business management. They open up a hobby shop. They think it's a money, a cash cow, basically. And they can sit back and wait for the Brinks truck to show up out front, and they're just going to hand them money in there. It's easy to do, and it's not. It's a lot of hard work, and it's a lot of hours, and it's a lot of sweat and equity you have to put into it. And if you don't, you end up out. And the last 10% are the tracks that had no control of their situation. IERC, I think, was one of them. They lost their lease on their building. Like I said earlier, 405 Raceway is basically lost his lease. And so companies like that, that they had no control over, it depends on what they do. I know IERC, I think those guys also own Coyote in California. And so they moved on.
Yeah, I remember IERC, right?
Yeah. Really nice truck. I actually really liked their truck.
It was huge.
Really bright. Yeah, it was huge. It was colorful. They had checkerboard tile in the hobby shop, and they had a big hobby shop, and just like California tracks, it's a huge track. But I think they lost. The rumor was they lost their lease. Basically, the person came in and says, you guys are done. We need to have this building for something else. And so they I don't know if they owned Coyote then or they bought Coyote, and now I think they run Coyote Hobbies, which is an outdoor track in California. I think that's where they went to, if I remember right. But it'll see what happens to 405 Raceway. I really hope 405 can find a building and they can move on, because they actually have seems like a pretty good following from what I've seen on their Facebook page and stuff like that. And so it's unfortunate, that they got thrown this curveball, and it's really just going to have to take a couple months to see what's going to come out of it.
That's the one in Oklahoma, right?
Yeah, Oklahoma, yeah.
Okay.
This is from Adam. He says, what are the top 3 things you attribute your success and longevity to in this hobby?
Number 1, change. You have to be adaptable to change. You cannot sit on your laurels and just, do the same thing over and over again. You have to be worried. You always have to think about change and what's new. If you don't do that, it's definitely going to hurt your business. Hard work is definitely another one. It takes a lot of hard work. And I think the last one is actually just good racers. I have got great racers at my track. They step up left and right for me, and I am very appreciative of them. Mm-hmm. And I really say some of my success is due to them.
Maybe that's why tracks didn't last in my area, Jason, because they had me as a racer.
That could be.
I'm just thinking about that now.
I could see that being a big part of it.
Yeah, I do.
If people want their tracks to stay around more, they need to help out with more with their tracks, stuff like that. It's not really, it's a great thing that if they buy more from their local hobby shops and stuff like that. But helping out the new racer is a big thing. Being friendly to people, inviting to make the track more fun. That's why tracks stay around.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You need the Bring a Friend program.
Yes, definitely.
Let's see, Jason, Chad has Sturgill up there, so that's really helping.
Yes, yeah, Sturgill comes up a lot. He's a good guy, though.
Yeah, we'll bust him.
We got, go ahead, Gotti.
Again, a lot of these questions are like, here's one from Chris.
Trudeau.
Yeah, I wasn't going to even say his last name because I'm done with that.
Okay.
He's wanted to open up a track, and he says, but seeing so many hobby shops close, mainly due to rising rent costs, economic impacts, changes, and use interests, it's not easy. How do places like yours, Jimmy Babcock's, keep going? How much marketing and advertising do you do?
Everything I do is on Facebook. I do a ton of stuff on Facebook, a little bit of Instagram. I think those are very important for a track to have, to get their face out there as much as possible, take photos of everything new come in, anything, tiny change, anything. Take a photo of it, post it up. Number one thing is you have to treat it like a business. If you do not treat it like a business, if you're going to treat it like your hobby, don't even bother. It's a waste of your time. It's going to be a waste of a lot of money. But you have to treat it like a business. It's not, there are tracks out there that I know that, the owners had more back stock in their back room than really where they're hanging on their wall. And we're building their vehicles. Their vehicles were really nice, had all the stuff, but they wouldn't carry it in their hobby shop. It's like, you need that stuff to keep going. And, my customer's number one. If I bought a part specifically for my car and a customer comes in and goes, hey, do you have that part? That part instantly goes to that customer. It does not go to me. Customer has to come first, and it has to be treated like a business.
That was what one of my buddies told me once. When he opened his shop back in the 80s or something, late 80s, he's like, man, he goes, when we get stuff in, it would be one for me, one for sales. He's like, I'd order all this stuff, and he's like, it would just be, it was like my own way to, dress up my cars and build all my cars but it's the classic mistake, just like you said, is it's, for him it was just he was just doing it for him, not as a business.
Yeah, you have to do it as a business because you won't survive, and it's a lot of hard work. Unfortunately, there are people out there that will, say you're doing it wrong, anything like that. You need to basically not listen to a lot of those people because they're just bad people. And, back when there used to be Tech Talk on the internet, I hated that thing.
Oh, you didn't like Trinity Tech Talk?
I hated it.
When you're a track owner, Trinity Tech Talk was evil.
Yeah.
And it's just basically people bashing tracks on there. And it's just like,
now what
you see your potential.
I'm sorry. I was going to say, what time frame is this? Because I was a monitor on Trinity Tech Talk from, I just want to make sure, 97 through 2003. Was it bad then? Say no.
It's been basically the whole time. I mean, because I know,
I know my best
some of my guys
people.
made stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not really, and some of it is just,
I know
it's not really like bad words or anything like that, but it's just the way stuff comes out.
Yeah,
and sometimes what you read on the internet is read wrong.
Yep.
And so it just hurt things. And, they're having fun, poking fun at their friend and stuff like that, but it's also very hurtful, unfortunately, to the track. Because someone who's never been to the track or anything like that, don't know those people, they look up online and go, oh, hey, I want to see about this track, and they go to places like Tech Talk.
Yeah, and they see some jerks in there.
And see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and see that, and they're like, well, I don't want to go there.
Yeah.
And it's just like, so that hurt business.
And it's also intimidating.
And
you see these guys in there.
Yeah, it's so, I knew it was them having fun at each other, but then it turned my stomach, and the more I read it, the worse it got. So I just ended up really stop reading a lot of that stuff. Facebook is, I don't know, say Facebook seems a little better, but it's you still have your problems every now and then. And that's where you really need to just let it roll off your back and just continue on and find the positive and focus on the positive and work that way to get through it all.
Mm-hmm.
What's your favorite racing class? I saw we have a question here about that. And what's your favorite?
I like two-wheel drive buggy, but I think my favorite, if it's done right, is actually short course. Okay. And unfortunately, short course became a bachelor class.
Mm-hmm.
But I really like short course because if it's done right, you can actually kind of move people over without really wrecking them. And I think that makes it just more fun because it's closed wheel racing, I think short course would have probably lasted longer if we could have figured out a way to make it to where it wasn't such a bachelor class and more of a finesse driving class. Because I think pushing people out of the way is fun to do with a short course truck that you're not, plowing through them. But pushing someone wide in a corner because you've stuck your nose in there and you can actually make a whole car move over a little bit without them wrecking. It's I think fun racing.
Do you see the kids today, like, do they want to build their car kits? Like when I was a kid, I loved building them, but when they come in and buy a kit now, do they want to build it, or do they get spoiled by like just taking it out of the box and running it like a Traxxas or something?
Most people just are spoiled taking it out of the box and just run it. It seems most of my, usually dads will come in that used to build them when they were kids, will bring their kids in, they'll build them for their kids, and they'll run. But there's not a lot of kids out there, or even the younger adults that really want to build it.
Man.
And we actually offer like associated club racers. We build them. We build them up, paint them. The only thing I don't do is I don't put a radio battery or charger with it, and I offer it as a combo pack. If they want to add to it, they could buy it as well. And then, so it's all assembled for them. All I have to do is put the electronics in. They're good to go. And I sell a ton of those.
Yeah.
But usually, most of the guys who buy one of those, their very next car is a kit because then they realize, well, I really don't know how to work on it. I really kind of wish I would have built it. And they go back with regrets later. But telling someone that they should build it first, usually you don't get that positive reaction of it. They're like, no, I just want to run it.
They have to, yeah, exactly. Oh, you guys, hold on a second, Gotti. Take over for a second.
Yeah. Just put yourself on mute, Jason. Oh, never mind. Yeah, it's crazy because, I mean, well, he did it.
Wow.
Show some respect to Chad, Jason.
Did you pack up last-minute boxes to ship out?
I think he had to get like some Oreos or something. It sounded like.
Oh, that's probably what it is.
You got hungry.
What's that?
I said put yourself on mute before you go do all that.
No, I'm actually.
Yeah.
I had to grab a body because I'm test fitting some headlights and tail lights.
He's multitasking while he's podcasting here. It's amazing.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just loved building kits when I was a kid, and I thought it was one of my favorite parts. I mean, I just love taking that kit home and just ripping into it. And today, it's just so different. It's crazy.
Oh, it's so much way different because, like, even just comparing like an original RC10 or JRX2, and the fit of the vehicle, stuff like that, was way different than it is now.
Yeah.
I mean, now people like Cody Numedal have designed cars that go together really well, and there's no filing involved, no reaming involved, and all the parts you need are in the box. You don't buy the kit, and then you had to buy the bearings, you had to buy the tie rods, you had to buy all the hop-up parts you had to throw in the car too.
Yeah.
That's all a thing of the past anymore.
What do you think of sort of the segment with the scaling trucks and And obviously the scaling side has, a lot of people are telling me it's one of the biggest, if not the biggest segment in RC now.
I like it. I wish it would. Unfortunately, like in my area, they don't charge enough for events.
Yeah.
So people have gotten spoiled by it. $5 to walk into events, so it's cheap to walk into events. I love the fact that, with scalers, stuff like that, the mount, it's basically modeling and RC kind of morphed together.
Mm-hmm.
I'm amazed at some of the detail people put in the vehicles, and it's cool what you can get. Like, I've got a guy that 3D prints stuff, and he 3D prints some of the coolest stuff out there. Little milk crates that look identical to a full-size milk crate.
Yeah.
They're stackable just like regular milk crates, and it's amazing how good they look. And you put them in the car. He makes mini Yeti coolers that have the rubber latches on the front and everything.
Jeez.
Mm-hmm.
It's really cool. Seeing all that, and it's like, with 3D printing nowadays, you can print so much stuff to go along as just accessories and stuff like that. And it's easy for someone to do. I think Jason's even hitting on something too. Hopefully that the monster trucks will start coming back again, and we can figure out some kind of monster truck tour to take around the country. Maybe the JC monster truck tour that can hit a bunch of different tracks.
Yeah.
It's like the old Bigfoot tour, but we'll do it just for regular monster trucks, and it'd be nice because I remember way back in the day there used to be monster trucks. There used to be a row of cars you could crush that would actually crush. They were made out of like plastic.
Yeah.
I think something like that. Set them up like the '80s courses.
Mm-hmm.
The freestyle that's out now is kind of cool, but I still like the side by side. Well, not really side by side, but the racing. Going through the channels, coming around, doing 180-degree turns back and forth to win the race. I think is still a cool way to do it.
Yeah, it really is.
One of my customers brought me a TXT1 and gave it to me, and I really just hoping that someday I have enough time to actually sit down and work on it to make a monster truck out of it, because I think it's just really cool.
Wow.
Well, yeah, what we've been kind of doing is the last race we did was we had 3 classes. There was a retro, there was they call it sport mod, and then pro mod. And the retro was basically like a clodbuster. You had to run the clod motors and a lipo battery. I ran the stock speed control that came with the clodbuster, and you could put different tires on it and a different body, but the rest of it was just a clodbuster. And that was really fun. And then the sport mod was like taking an axial SMT10, and the motor, for some reason they were using was a brushed 17 single. So it was weird to use a brushed motor, but they did it that way. They said because it was really inexpensive. You could get a really cheap brushed speed control and this brushed motor, and like both of them together are like really cheap. So that was the sport mod, and then the pro mod is basically just like whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
And somewhere like the retro and the sport mod is kind of what you're almost referring to as, kind of the way it worked.
Yeah.
With the races, side by side races. But yeah, I mean, I could definitely see people doing a little bit more of that. There's really not a purpose-built truck besides the Clodbuster and the Axial SMT10 that's available right now that you can use, but people are making it all. They're making things work.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the scale guys, and it really makes me wonder sometimes if in the racing side of things, it's like, we were so concerned in the early 2000s about doing everything for everyone, making RTRs and everything being done. And then you go and you see all these scale guys doing it all themselves, and you're like, well, I thought we had to do everything for everybody in racing. And then in scaling, they want, it's like Traxxas makes an RTR scaler, and then they turn right around and say, well, we just made a kit where you can build it yourself because people wanted to build it themselves. So it's like the opposite of RC racing, where people, they were getting all these requests to have it done for them.
Yeah. The Traxxas one was I know a lot of people had to try on Traxxas to get them to build a kit because they were very adamant they weren't going to ever do a kit or had plans for a kit anytime soon. And so I know a lot of people had to pull on them to go, hey, we need a kit. And I know, here recently we're trying, a lot of people have been trying to get Traxxas to do more kits. Even something like the ECX amp with like a Bandit or something like that, where everything you need in the kit, and then you can build it. Because unfortunately, kids need to get away from computers, stuff like that, and they need to get their hands dirty and learn how to do stuff because they don't know how to do things.
Yeah. Yeah, they can kill it on the video games and that type of thing in their phone, but when it comes to actually doing anything, it's a little more minimal.
Yeah, just getting the kid to learn how to use a screwdriver is kind of weird because I've had a bunch of kids in that you hand them a screwdriver to do something, they don't really know how to use it. They look at it like it's a second head.
Oh my god!
And I'm sure it's difficult because you're probably taking it for granted that the screwdriver is kind of easy, right? And then you hand it to them, and they're just like, well, "What do you want me to do with this?"
Exactly. It's like handing them a tape player or something like that. And
just handing them a hand grenade. What do I do with this?
Yeah. I mean, they can figure out a Tide Pod. Why can't they figure out a screwdriver?
Yeah. It's tough. Like Gotti said, though, I mean, it's weird how, there's people that like to build stuff and like you looked forward to building it. I mean, that's how I was. I wanted to build everything and play with it, and I don't like it as much now as I used to because I've done it for 30 years, like Chad. But I still like, when I have the time, I like doing it myself.
Yeah.
And
I enjoy building. I miss the work that used to be involved in building. I mean, the original RC10, filing all the transmission gears.
You had to be a good builder.
Actually making things work.
Yeah, getting the Dremel out.
Yeah, exactly, and files out and Colgate toothpaste out, and it's the things that the stories I tell my new customers, the things we used to have to do, and their mouths drop open, and it's like, really, you had to do all that, and you're still involved? I'm like, yeah, it was fun.
It was, yeah, absolutely.
And that's the question, is you got these guys that are doing the scalers and they're building all this stuff and wanting to do it all themselves. And it's like, it's such a weird thing. It's like, we started all that. It's like we started all that stuff in RC and we got away from it because we wanted to make it easy for everybody. And now you guys are saying that's what you like about this part of it. And you're just like, we're confused.
Yeah, but I think it's the people our age that are doing the crawler stuff that miss the building. It's not the new kids and stuff like that, and we really need to get kids more involved.
Yeah, it's the older people.
The older people. I'm one of those older people now. I can legally say that.
Yeah, so am I.
So do you ever see a day when like a top of the line Associated or TOR kit is together?
I think so. I think what they did, like what Associated did with the Club Racer, I think that's a great way to go. I think Associated did it right, and it's really good. I don't think there'll be another. I mean, I think the B4 was the last way to run that was actually based off of a race vehicle, and those have all now gone by the wayside, and I don't really know if they're going to come out with another, because like I always thought like the next step generation would be the B5M to make it a ready to run, and like talking to according to Associated, they had 2 different manufacturers making that kit, so they couldn't get someone to build it, over there. Whereas like the B4 was all built at one place. It was all made in one place. All the Raider runs were made in one place, and it kind of went on. The B5, B5M were made in 2 different places. That's why when you open up the box, there's basically 2 different bags in there, and which had all other smaller bags inside of it. So they couldn't really do a Raider run with the B5M. But it looks like they've taken the B5M and now made short course trucks and short course trucks out of them. Out of the B5 series, probably the leftover parts they had from the B5 series. But I don't know if the B6 you'll ever see anything. I think the club racers as far as they go with it right now. But Associate just changed manufacturers again, who makes their parts to a new one here recently. So I don't know if now it's all back at one location or not.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure about that either.
Well, I'm just wondering because the kids are getting, you know what I'm saying, like these young guys coming up, they really don't want to build a kit. So is it going to force these manufacturers to say, instead of getting a competitive ready kit and you have to build it, now you take it out of the box and just fine tune it from there? I don't know.
Yeah, I think really if manufacturers will get better instructions, they've almost gone too basic.
Yeah.
With instructions again, and I think it could be, you could bring people back into it with better instructions. I think not just exploded views with kind of a screw goes here, screw goes here. I think even just if companies would actually make like how-to videos of how to build a front end, how to build bag A, how to build C through D, whatever.
Make it more interactive as you're building it.
Exactly. And that way, the people who are the YouTube generation, stuff like that, can actually go online and actually almost have someone sit down with them.
Yeah. That'd be
go,
cool.
Here's how to do this.
If you could sit down with Ryan Mayfield as he builds his car, that'd be awesome as you're building yours.
Exactly. And Ryan Mayfield can go through and walk through it. And the biggest problem like someone like Ryan Mayfield has to do is he has to realize that it's someone new that never built a kit. And unfortunately, when you get to Ryan Mayfield status, you automatically assume some things, and the problem with assuming some things is exactly how to use a screwdriver. You say install speed control, you automatically know to put the sensor wire in the back side of it and then install it. It's just simple things that you take for granted that it'd be great to have like Ryan Mayfield, even designers like Cody Newmandahl do build videos,
Yeah.
I've talked to Frank Root about this too. It's like they're great people, and there's just little build videos here and there, helps out quite a bit. I've seen TLR start to come out now with more just general videos. I saw them do a glue video, I think last week it was. And it's nice to see, because that's what I think with this being a YouTube generation, an online generation, everyone wants to find things on YouTube. You need to get out there and show people how to do it on that platform.
I've, I was at that race last weekend, that monster truck event, and I had little kids come up to me and recognize me from YouTube.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, they're like,
they want your autograph?
Yeah, they're like, hey, I watched this video on YouTube, and then they're, it's kind of weird because they're it's really important to them, like you said. I mean, they're watching this stuff. I mean, you wonder where some of these people are watching from, but that's who's watching it. Mm-hmm. It's these kids that have their their computers and their phones, and if they like RC at all, that's where they're getting their information.
Exactly. I get the kids to come in and that point to me and go, "You're the guy that sings." I'm like, "Well, yeah, not really, but yeah."
You're like, not professionally.
Yeah.
Yeah, not professionally. No, not even close. Luckily, I have a very good employee that has a good singing voice that helps me out with those things.
Yeah, cool. Zeke wants to know who's better, Dustin or Zeke.
I'm gonna have to plead the mom rule on this, and I can't pick out the better child. But I will say I've never gotten a good high five from Zeke.
Oh,
There you go.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Leaves you hanging.
Yeah.
Yeah, he always leaves me hanging.
Oh boy.
Sorry, buddy.
All right. Zeke also asked, who's more savage, Cody Newman Hall or Zeke?
That one's easy. That one I could actually take sides on because you're not called Savage Bobby for anything. And I love Cody Newman all death. He's originally one of my racers, and he is definitely hands down more savage.
Oh, this is from Robert Gonzalez. He says, I remember someone saying they wouldn't run a hobby shop. Much respect to Chad Brockman for taking over and building more up bigger and better.
That person would be me that said that. About 5-6 years ago, I said I was kind of burnt out and said I would never run a hobby shop, especially a hobby shop with a track. I'd probably do a hobby shop, but never one with a track. And I've definitely changed my tune since then. And it's definitely an attitude you have to have, and you have to look at things completely differently when you own a track. And it's a life lesson I'm learning, and most of all, I've changed.
Yeah. Well, apparently you're doing a hell of a job. So.
Well, thank you very much. I'm trying.
And best of luck to the next 31.
Definitely. That's my goal. I need to do another 29 basically. That'll beat my dad's record.
Oh.
So then I can find someone to buy it and retire with my wife someplace hot and beautiful.
Yeah. Wow.
Perfect.
So what do we got coming up there then? What were the races coming up for you soon?
Pizza Feast, November, second weekend in November is Pizza Feast. Actually, first, I guess, September is More Mayhem in September, which are outdoor 8-scale race. And then November will be Pizza Feast. And then February, second weekend in February, is Rumble in the Rockies. It's our big race.
Rumble in the Rockies.
The Rumble.
Yep.
Chad Brockman.
Yep.
Sounds like a wrestling event to me.
A wrestling event held by a wrestling persona.
Yeah. Yeah. No, me and Jason, we'll have to fly out there for the Pizza Fest, Jason.
I'm down for some pizza.
That'd be awesome.
I've been trying to get the Ronas out here for a while, but they seem to want to fly around Colorado, but they never seem to want to come to Colorado.
I fly through Colorado a lot.
Yeah. I mean, they were just up in Utah a little bit ago, I think. Weren't you guys just in Utah?
In January.
Oh, January, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's like, that's close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still not quite here.
Well, what's going on?
I've tried to talk to one of my customers to get box seats for the Nuggets. If I could get box seats for the Nuggets, would you come out?
You know, I mean, I need to do it anyway, so that would just be a bonus, I think.
I mean, I know it's the Nuggets. I know it's not the best in the world, but, you know, maybe they'll be playing somebody halfway decent. You know,
Well, if they're playing his favorite team, the Lakers, then yeah, he'll show up.
Lakers.
That's your
That's
favorite
Gotti.
Yeah.
Well, but for sure. Okay, actually, while we're doing this, where's
More RC at?
No. Pizza. Tell us the dates for the pizza. I know you've said about 3 times already, but
Pizza Feast. Let me double check the dates here, just to be 100% sure. Pizza Feast will be November 9th through 11th.
Mm-hmm.
And then Rumble in the Rockies should be February 8th through the 10th.
Okay, Pizza Feast. And then Rumble is
February 8th through 10th, 2019.
Look at this. Big things
all official now.
I know. That's
it's being typed in something.
Good Lord.
I'm not being penciled in, I'm being typed in. That's even better.
That's important.
We'll pencil you right in. You're definitely the first date I have on the calendar in 2019.
Ooh.
Sweet.
But
we're supposed to. We're having Scott Brown will be there.
That would be kind of neat.
He's already confirmed his daughter actually goes to college out here. So he's already confirmed that he is supposed to be here for next year's Rumble in the Rockies.
Oh.
Good. That's a good thing to do.
Yeah. Here pretty soon I need to start yelling at Cody Numedal to get him back out of retirement so he can race.
Yeah, we got him out of retirement for a carpet race, and now you got to get him out of retirement for the dirt race, and we'll be good.
Yeah.
All right, well, I think we're good.
Well, thank you guys very much for having me. I appreciate
it, man. It's a good time.
Yeah, a lot of fun.
We'll stay in touch, and let us know if you need something from us.
Will do. I appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Chad.
Thanks, Chad. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
Chad Brockman. The Brockinator.
Brockster.
Chad Brockman versus Brock Lesnar. Rumble in the Rockies.
Wow.
I like that. That sounds good. All right, Jason, besides the Money in the Bank going on this weekend, June 17th on a WWE network at 8 p.m., we also have the Nationals coming up.
That's right.
So give us a little preview. Keep it short, sweet. We're going to win this thing or what?
You know, I always like our chances. I like our guys. I think as always, I think our number one competition is Ty Tessman. In terms of he's just really strong, real tough.
Yeah.
Then you got Dakota Fend and Jared Tebow, who are probably, the next, and then Ryan Lutz, Joe Bornhorst, competition to us. We're Mayfield, Cavallari, Spencer, Cole Ogden, J.R. Mitch,
J.R.
Cole Tollard, Blake Pickett, Griffin Hanna, Alex Kaskushak.
Alex K is easier to say.
It is, man. It's tough.
I see he was preparing. He was at some track today.
Yeah.
That, a lot of these guys are getting ready. Like some guys were in Georgia too, racing. And
that's right.
Okay. And then heading down tomorrow, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a tough race, and not for there's just even more so, I think, this year because the weather in Florida is so tough, and we've been having a lot of rain. I don't remember seeing this much rain since like the 90s, to be honest. I mean, last couple of years here have been pretty dry in the summer. It was you could count on some things, but it's been raining here almost every day for like 3 weeks, and they had to build the track in between the rainstorms up there.
I was gonna say, what condition is this track gonna be in?
Well, they got it built, and I think they put the pipe down. I think the track is ready. I think the track will be ready to run on. It's just the weather's so unpredictable that they might have to rebuild it a few times, and that's going to take its toll on the people, on the personalities, and what I've noticed from having races in the past, when we've done our Clash races and doing them outside, is everything is great when everybody can drive their cars. And the second that you can't drive, or the racers can't drive and race, they jump on their phones and the internet and they start complaining and causing a fit. and that's what ends up happening. And that's something you have to deal with in addition to everything. So you always got the hindsight 2020 guys. Then you got the experts, telling you how you should have did everything, and that's something they have to deal with. And I think by the judging of what they have so far, it looks good to me. And it's just going to be a success or not based off the weather. Yeah. And if we get good enough weather to race, it'll be fine. If we don't, then people will be upset, and that's just how it is. It's not going to be their fault, but ultimately people are always the fall guy, because there's always the experts. But in terms of when I was there several weeks ago and ran that e-buggy race, the track was so awesome. The layout had been in a while. It was really had a ton of traction. The track was great. And the facility and the feeling, the atmosphere was really good. And if we have that kind of experience at the Nationals, people are going to go away thinking that it was the best race. And that's what we can hope for. In the results, sure, we want to win. I want that feeling we had a couple of years ago when we won both classes. We're kind of you're always searching for that same feeling. And we'll see what we can do. I think we got I like our guys in this condition. Certainly Mayfield just came off of a win. He's going to be tough. The track, it's hard to say who it favors because we haven't got there yet. We don't know the weather, but because it could be smooth, it could be bumpy. If the weather makes it bumpy or blown out, then all of a sudden everything changes. So we plan to go up late tomorrow, set up our pits, and start with the guys and see what we can do. And it's going to be intense. If we get to race, it's going to be one that people are definitely going to want to tune in for. I believe the race has a maximum, maxed out entry wise. So it's going to be a tough one. It's so rare that we get a nationals like this in Florida. I hope it does work out because I hate when people come here and have a bad experience and then they think where we live sucks. I hate that. Because we really have great tracks here and people don't get to see them all the time. And obviously that impression is everything. So I hope people have a good experience. I hope our guys, what I want to finish, I tell our guys, let's get in the A main if there's a semi and let's finish. It's like if you don't finish or you have a meltdown or a problem or something breaks, then we don't get anything out of it. We don't even get a fourth or a fifth, we get last. And it's like, it's just nice to have something at the end of the weekend you can somewhat be proud of. And if our guys are in contention, they finish the race, we're happy with that. No matter where they finish, you just kind of live with it. But you're going for the win, so that's the idea.
So does the forecast look decent, or is it just like Florida weather's so unpredictable you can't really...
Well, if you look at the forecast, it doesn't look very good, but that doesn't necessarily mean much in Florida because it really could just not rain. Like if it says rain, it could just not rain too.
Yeah.
Like it's really bizarre. Tomorrow shows 5 p.m. starts. Says 30% thunderstorms at 5 p.m. at the track tomorrow, which really isn't that bad because from the beginning of the day to the end, you got a good little run there. But really what it comes down to is what's it like during the practice and race days. And then what type of rebuilding is it going to take if it does rain? They have a big tarp that they put over the track, but that kind of helps some things, but not everything. So, if it rains at night, that really kind of delays you when you start the next day, and then you start burning the candle from both ends, and it's hard to fit your whole day in. So, if you really are attacked with all those scenarios, you end up having to shorten the program. You run less qualifiers, that type of thing.
All right, so speaking of 8-scale nationals and stuff like that, we're going to give away the 8-scale Ryan Mayfield body that you used at the Psycho Nitro Blast.
Okay.
We're going to give that away, and I got the list of names on my screen right now, and I'm doing video of this too. And everybody that was on patreon.com/radioimpound, you can go there, you can sign up. There's 3 different tier levels. In other words, you can go there and look at the amount you donate. You get your name put in more than, like if you donated, for example, $2, your name puts it into the list twice. Okay? 2 cannolis. Sorry.
Gotcha.
Cannolis. So I have all the names here listed. And I'm going to let this program pick a name out of the list here for the Ryan Mayfield body. And the photo's up on our Facebook page. You can see what you're going to get there. And here we go. And your winner is Jake Engstrom.
Wow. That's cool.
Jake Engstrom. Jake's been, I think he's won a few things in the past.
Yeah, good guy from down here in Florida, actually.
And he was running... He sent a photo on our page. He was running an old double XCR at one of those tracks down there.
That's right.
And it looked pretty cool. So congratulations, Jake. Winner, winner, winner.
Another body for the collection.
But, congratulations, Jake, and thanks for supporting the show. Long-time supporter.
Cannolis.
Cannolis. Donate to cannolis. And, it's very easy to sign up on patreon.com. Just go there, and as little as 1 cannoli a month puts you in the program. And you can cancel any time, but we hope you don't. You know what? I have a shirt to give away, too, but I'll do that next show. I have a J Concepts...
Just do it live when you get up.
Yeah. I could do it now, I guess.
Go live.
We'll give away a shirt. We'll give away a shirt here. Here, this is for the J Concepts, and it's an XL shirt, I believe, too. Not a medium. Paul G. That's all I have for his name. Paul G. Patron Paul G. wins a t-shirt. J Concepts. That's the new one, right? The 2018 shirt. Black, yellow lettering. Event t-shirt.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Jason, what are you doing there, man? What's going on?
Taking selfies, I told you.
For what? What are you doing? Taking selfies?
I'm trying to take selfies, like, to show that we're on the podcast for later.
Oh, okay. But we have got a lot of good responses from people that are happy that we're back on a more consistent schedule, so.
I like it.
And things have eased up on my end a little bit, so I'm fine. And plus I got new motivation.
Good.
I got new motivation. I don't even know where I was going with that.
Sing it, Elvis.
Isn't there a song like that? Yeah. Oh, no, you know what I was thinking of? Never mind. I'm not even going to say what I was thinking of because you'll laugh. Never mind. All right, jconcepts.net. You already know it. Do I need to repeat it? No. But just go there. Bug Jason. Email him. Tell him you want an app for your phone. But in the meantime, go there, look at all this stuff, and watch his vlogs.
Mm-hmm.
I got hell for saying it like that from Kirby. It's not vlogs, it's vlogs.
What's funny is that kind of sounds like Kirby.
I'm like, yeah, dude, I know. I'm just trying to be a little different. Oh yeah, sure you were.
Okay, we got some new cool products.
Yeah, what do we got this week going out? Anything going out this week before the Nationals?
Yeah, we got some carbon fiber shock towers for the T6 and SC6. You responded to that email earlier.
Yeah. Well, I thought you were asking me a question in our chat.
I was.
Were you asking us or Kirby?
I was asking you.
Oh, okay.
And then you ended up replying and kind of...
Well, what was the problem? Like, was there...
Well, you sent me a reply to the very first email I sent today.
Oh, okay.
And the whole thing was, it only had, like, your reply. It had none of the email that I sent. So I was like, I wonder if I sent a blank email. I'm like, that doesn't seem right. And then later you replied to it, and it had all the text there. And then you replied to the second one I sent, which was the titanium turnbuckles for the Mugen MBX8.
Not aluminum, titanium.
They're titanium, correct. And so both of those emails went out today. We got the Bog Hog body went out the end of last week. It was the Bog Hog mega truck body. That was fun.
Bog Hog.
And, we got a couple videos on YouTube with the Bog Hog.
Bog Hog.
We got a 2008 Ford going to be released next week.
Ah.
We got after the Nats, and then we got which I believe is the first ever competition level UTV body, which is the side-by-side vehicles.
Oh, okay.
But you'll see that body come out. It's really cool.
Well, this stuff's coming out right now. I mean, releasing now, this week.
You're hearing it now. But no, it'll be next week when people actually see it. But
yeah. Oh, okay. Wow. Busy down there, man. Getting stuff done.
Yes. So got some new, so we got those new videos, got some new shock towers, turnbuckles. Been doing more of these inside looks of people's different cars. Got Dan Wyatt built a movie truck on our page. That looks pretty cool. We're continually doing our weekly reports of how our team's doing each week. A lot of good stuff on the Facebook page, which gets posted on both Facebook and the blog and the website. So you see all that kind of together.
The B-logs and the V-logs and the bog hogs.
And how would Vince say bog hog?
Bog hog. I don't know.
Dude, that's pretty good. Should we just make a whole nother show with you just saying things like Vince?
Yes. That would be great.
It's funny when we listen to some of those podcasts you've shown to me where a lot of the guys, they do the Vince voice.
Yeah.
It's funny how they always talk about that.
Yeah.
One thing to check out that just came up this week was Trigger King RC on YouTube. Mm-hmm. They've been putting up the videos of our last couple race events we've done. It's a RC monster truck organization, and they're the ones that ran the race we were at the open house. And they do a full video of every class of racing. Hold on, can you hear that? Sorry. They do a full video of each class of racing, and then they post a bunch of photos. They're very popular on YouTube. They have a lot of people. They watch a lot of this.
Sure do. Yeah, a lot of subs and a lot of views.
Yeah.
Oh, this is cool. Yeah, they got the Gravedigger, Danny Moz, I guess, Tim Gilman going off here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. You sent this video in the chat, I think. Oh,
yeah, I sent
my
you.
God. That's a big jump for those guys.
Yeah, I sent you the retro of us racing the retros. But
this is what I want to do, Jason, right here.
You would like this. So click on the link that I sent you.
My internet's gonna crash. All right. Click on the link.
And you'll see you'll see the final Pro Mod race. And then they show an instant replay, and watch how cool it looks in replay. So what we're watching here is the Trigger King RC 2018 Bigfoot Open House Huge Pro Mod Over-Under Racing Bracket, June 2nd. So this is me versus Hazardous Waste in the finals.
All right, what minute mark? It's right at the beginning.
Well, yeah, if you click on the link that I sent you in the chat, I captured it right at the moment.
Jason Ruona, number 21, versus Brad Roth on the Spider truck.
Spider truck.
Is that what it says? It says Spider.
Really?
Yep, Spider. Spider. Brad Roth. All right, let's see what Jason does against him.
Oh, that might be the first round.
Oh, wow.
See how the track has over-unders?
Yeah, I see that. Man, that looks like actually a lot of fun. Man, that jump looks wicked when you guys get a lot of air on that thing.
We just raced after the rain here. You can see the ground's wet.
Yeah. So when's the main? What minute mark is that?
So go to...
Listeners, follow along here. Go to minute mark. Jason can't find it.
15:54.
15:54.
And we got Hazardous Waste versus Bigfoot 21.
David Way versus Jason Ruona.
That's it.
Hope there's no... Let's see. Here we go. Jason's ready. He's ready. So he's on the outside, you're on the inside.
Yeah. Go through the over-under.
And then you got to go on the outside.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Fire!
This truck is so fast. Watch when they do the slow-mo here. Watch when the truck comes around on the last turn towards the finish line.
Okay.
I actually punch it, and they put it in slow motion, and the thing pulls a wheelie. Coming around right here. Lands.
Oh, yeah. Look at that. That looks awesome.
It's so cool in slow motion. It just looks legit in slow motion.
Ah, there you are. That's your trophy. Look at that.
I was gonna post something about this, that I have a photo at home of me the first time I raced with a bowling trophy like that.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
And I was gonna post that photo and say, 30 years later, still racing for bowling trophies and liking
and liking it. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, it's fun.
All right, well, I think it's time for dinner.
It is. We are out of here. Thanks for joining
everybody.
us. Thanks to Chad. If you ever get a
Roar
chance
Nats this week. Roar Nats.
Yeah, watch it on Live RC. I guess I'll be having that on the TV.
Yep, awesome track. It's going to be cool.
And I'll check it out on the YouTubes.
The interwebs.
The interwebs and the YouTubes. It'll be on there. So, yeah, I'll watch that this weekend. Hopefully the weather holds out for you guys and you have a good time. And all the J Concept racers and the Radio Impound drivers like J.R. Mitch. Is Jackson Brunson going to be there?
Yep.
All right. Jackson Brunson's another driver.
He's fast.
Good luck to those guys, man. Yeah, best of luck. I'll be watching. And you guys traveling to the event, safe travels. And
Thank you.
We'll see you on the next show, possibly next week.
And we're gonna we'll rustle up another guest.
Yeah.
I guess people should ask if we want a drive. That's what we should ask. Do we want a driver? Do we want an industry person? Do we want a track owner? That's what we should ask.
Okay, I'll put that on Facebook and see what the guys say.
Yeah, I think that'd be cool. And give them those options. That way we don't have, because everyone will be like, I want Gotti Jr. You can't get Gotti Jr. It's like,
yeah.
you gotta give them. It's gotta be more vague. Then it opens the options. Because when we go to select somebody, sometimes you have to go with somebody that's available too, right?
Yeah, that's the tough part, scheduling. And these guys on the West Coast, it's really hard to get the scheduling down. But yeah, we could do that. I'll make a post on Facebook and we'll see where that goes. And next week we'll be here for episode 177.
Boom.
All right, guys.
See you.